The grand arena of Zyphera stretched like a shining jewel across the planet's surface, an immense structure of translucent crystal and metal hovering above the violet sands of the desert. Thousands of spectators from hundreds of planets filled the stands, their voices mixing into a thunderous roar that echoed across the barren horizon. In the center of the arena, platforms floated in midair, shifting and rotating unpredictably. Energy fields shimmered across the gaps, a warning of danger for the unwary. This was the place where the galaxy's best warriors tested their skills, their cunning, and their strength. At the top of the grandstand, wearing a crown of shimmering sapphire light, stood Princess Lyra of Zyphera, the reigning champion of her planet and one of the most skilled fighters in the known galaxy. Her long, silver hair floated in a gentle breeze, her eyes sharp and calculating. She looked down at the assembled contestants, the crowd, and finally, the lone human standing quietly at the edge of the arena's entrance. "You'll lose instantly, human," she said, her voice dripping with amusement, amplified by the arena's speakers. The crowd laughed and cheered. "No human has ever survived more than a single round here. Do you really think you can challenge me?" The human, Alex Mercer, stood calm. He was taller than most of the alien contestants, with broad shoulders and an air of quiet confidence. His brown eyes scanned the arena, taking in every detail: the floating platforms, the shifting energy barriers, the audience's excited anticipation. He said nothing, his expression neutral, giving nothing away. Lyra's smile widened. "Very well," she said. "Let's see if your species is as laughably weak as I've been told." She leaped from the royal stand and landed gracefully on a floating platform in the arena's center. Sparks of energy danced across her body as she prepared her combat stance, her fingers tracing the air, calling forth holographic blades of light. Alex stepped forward, his boots barely making a sound on the metallic surface of the platform. Unlike Lyra, he carried no weapons, only his own body, trained to perfection through years of rigorous preparation and secret human enhancements that even the galaxy's most advanced civilizations did not fully understand. The crowd's excitement grew louder. Aliens of every shape, size, and color leaned forward, whispering to each other in languages Alex could not understand. Many were confident this would be an easy victory for the princess. Humans were rarely allowed in such tournaments, and when they were, they never lasted long. "Begin!" shouted the announcer, a floating holographic figure with multiple arms, each waving dramatically. Lyra lunged forward first, moving with blinding speed. Her holographic blades sliced through the air, creating arcs of pure light. Alex barely dodged the first few strikes, stepping to the side, letting the princess's momentum carry her past him. To the spectators, it seemed like he was barely surviving, but Alex was not panicking. He had studied alien combat techniques for years. He knew that Zypherans, despite their agility and speed, relied heavily on predictable attack patterns. He observed her movements carefully, noting the rhythm of her strikes, the way she favored certain angles, the moments when she paused to recover energy. Lyra struck again, faster this time. Alex ducked under her swinging blades, rolling across the platform and using the energy barriers as cover. He noticed how her holographic blades bent slightly whenever they touched the barriers, a subtle flaw he could exploit later. The first few minutes passed with the crowd on edge. Every strike Lyra delivered was precise, and every movement Alex made was calculated. He did not attempt to overpower her, he did not even try to match her speed. Instead, he observed, adapted, and waited for the right moment. "Is this human even trying?" one alien spectator whispered to another. "He moves as if he's scared." Alex heard none of it. His focus was entirely on Lyra. He had come here for one reason: to prove that humans, though underestimated across the galaxy, were clever, resourceful, and adaptable. And he intended to show it, not with arrogance, but with results. Lyra, meanwhile, was growing frustrated. Every strike she delivered was countered or avoided. Her holographic blades hummed louder, and sparks flew with each clash against the environment. She had fought countless opponents, all skilled in combat, and none had been able to last this long against her. And now, a human, weak, fragile, and supposedly untrained, was surviving. "You think you can last against me?" she shouted, circling Alex. Her movements were elegant, almost dance-like, but there was now a sharp edge to them. "I've defeated champions from over 100 worlds. You are nothing." Alex's response was calm. "Then let me show you what humans are capable of." He moved forward, not with brute force, but with precision. He baited Lyra into striking him, then used the platform's shifting angles to evade and redirect her momentum. She slashed at him, and he ducked, letting her swing past. In one swift motion, he used his foot to kick against the platform's edge, sending himself spinning in midair. He landed behind her, his hand brushing against her shoulder not to strike, but to unbalance her. Lyra staggered slightly, surprised by the human's agility. The crowd gasped. She had not expected him to manipulate the environment so cleverly. She recovered quickly, summoning a shield of light to block her balance from collapsing. But Alex was already moving again, predicting her next step, anticipating her strikes. Minutes stretched like hours. Lyra's attacks became more aggressive, less calculated, as frustration overtook her usually calm demeanor. Alex, on the other hand, remained collected. He did not rush. Every movement was deliberate. Every dodge, every step, was part of a larger strategy. "You are persistent," Lyra said, almost grudgingly, as she leaped backward, scanning Alex carefully. "But persistence alone will not save you." Alex smiled slightly. "I don't plan to survive on persistence alone." The arena's energy barriers shifted suddenly, forcing the combatants onto narrower platforms suspended high above the arena floor. Below, alien spectators craned their necks, trying to see the fighters clearly. Sparks of energy crackled along the edges, threatening to throw either of them into the abyss if they misstepped. Lyra used this to her advantage, attempting to trap Alex. She jumped onto a rotating platform, summoning 2 holographic blades that extended like whips, sweeping the air around her. Alex, anticipating the pattern, timed his jumps perfectly, landing safely on a stationary platform. He tapped into the platform's subtle vibrations, using them to predict the speed and angle of the rotating section. The crowd murmured in amazement. "He's not just surviving," one alien whispered. "He's adapting." Lyra's eyes narrowed. She realized that this human was not just reacting, he was thinking ahead. Her previous opponents had relied on strength or speed. But Alex combined intelligence with movement in a way few beings could match. "You are different," she admitted, her voice quieter now. There was no malice, only a flicker of respect buried under her frustration. "I underestimated you." Alex did not respond with words. Instead, he focused on the next move, calculating his approach. He knew this was the moment to set the stage for what humans could really do. He leaped from his platform, somersaulting in midair, and landed on a rotating section with perfect balance. Lyra struck, expecting him to falter, but he rolled through the attack and used the platform's rotation to launch himself toward her flank. For the first time, Lyra felt a human's movement disrupt her own. Her blades missed their mark, cutting through empty space. Alex landed gracefully, ready to respond to her next attack. The arena was silent for a moment, the crowd holding its collective breath. Then, they erupted into cheers, clapping, and whistles. Never had they seen a human fight like this. Never had they seen Lyra struggle so visibly. Lyra's chest heaved as she adjusted her stance. She realized something important. This human was not merely lucky or strong. He was thinking, adapting, and challenging everything she knew about humans. "You may have survived the first round," she said, her voice steady again. But don't think this is over. Alex nodded slightly, his eyes calm, unwavering. I never thought it was. And with that, the first part of the duel ended not with a victor, but with a clear message to the galaxy. Humans were not to be underestimated. The arena shifted again, platforms rising higher into the sky, signaling the start of the next stage. Alex and Lyra stood apart, studying each other carefully. The spectators leaned forward, eager to witness the next chapter in a battle that would become legendary. And somewhere deep inside, Lyra knew that this human, this stranger from a distant planet, might just change everything she thought she knew about her world, and about the galaxy itself. The arena had shifted once more, platforms rising higher into the sky, floating over the vast, violet deserts of Zyphera. Energy fields crackled around the edges, creating invisible barriers that could tear through any misstep. The crowd's excitement had reached a fever pitch. Hundreds of species leaning forward in their seats, their eyes wide with anticipation. Princess Lyra hovered on a central platform, her holographic blades humming and flickering like liquid light. Her silver hair floated around her face, a halo of energy and movement. She had fought hundreds of opponents, yet something about this human unsettled her. Alex Mercer stood on another platform, his posture calm, almost serene. No fear showed in his eyes, only focus. The match resumed. Lyra attacked first, launching a rapid flurry of strikes. Each blade moved with surgical precision, faster than most could follow. Alex dodged and rolled, moving in ways that seemed almost impossible for a human. But he wasn't relying solely on speed. He relied on strategy. Every movement was calculated. Every dodge set him up for the next. Lyra's first few attacks were met with empty air. Alex had baited her into predictable patterns. She grew frustrated, her movements becoming sharper, more aggressive. "Come on, human," she shouted, her voice carrying across the arena. "Show me your strength." Alex smiled slightly. "Strength alone won't win this fight," he said softly. "Strategy will. Strategy, 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 strategy will." With that, he leaped onto a rotating platform, using its momentum to propel himself toward a higher level. Lyra anticipated his move and swung her blades, expecting him to falter midair. But Alex had studied her style closely. He twisted in midair, using the platform's tilt to dodge, and landed gracefully behind her. He didn't strike immediately. Instead, he observed, noting how she relied on speed and precision, but often left small openings. Lyra noticed it too, a flicker of caution in her eyes. She had expected him to rely on raw reflexes, not tactics. Yet here he was, outmaneuvering her, adapting with every step. The battle continued, each move more daring than the last. Alex began to use the environment itself as a weapon. He pushed off energy barriers, using the rebound to launch toward her flank. He ducked under a swinging blade and used the platform's rotation to gain extra height. Lyra was forced to defend against not just his attacks, but the terrain itself. The spectators were on the edge of their seats. Many had come to see the princess's effortless victory. Instead, they watched a human not just survive, but challenge her in ways no alien had before. Whispers spread through the crowd. "He's not just surviving, he's adapting." Lyra's frustration grew. She summoned a shield of holographic energy to block Alex's next attack. Sparks flew as her blade struck the shield, and for a moment, the two combatants froze, locked in a silent struggle of wills. Alex's calm expression never wavered. He knew patience was as important as skill. The princess's anger, her increasing aggression, would soon create the opening he needed. "You are clever," Lyra admitted, almost grudgingly, as she circled him. "But cleverness alone won't win against strength. Strength without thinking is wasted energy." Alex replied. He adjusted his stance, ready for her next move. Lyra launched herself forward, using a combination of speed and force that would have defeated most opponents instantly. Alex sidestepped, letting her momentum carry her past him. Then, with a quick twist, he used the platform's edge to push himself into a new position, launching a precise strike not to hurt her, but to unbalance her. Lyra stumbled, momentarily surprised. The crowd gasped. The princess, unbeaten for years, had been caught off guard by a human. Some spectators whispered excitedly. Others shook their heads in disbelief. Humans were clever, yes, but capable of outmaneuvering a Xipheran princess? Lyra recovered quickly, summoning her twin holographic whips. They extended like serpents of light, sweeping across the platforms, forcing Alex to jump and roll. He landed on a rotating section, calculating the speed and timing. With a subtle shift of his weight, he redirected the platform's rotation, sending himself spinning toward her again. This time, he executed a move that no alien had anticipated. He used her own momentum against her. Lyra lunged, expecting a simple dodge, but Alex pivoted mid-air, his hand brushing her side just enough to disrupt her balance. She stumbled, regaining her footing only after several heartbeats. For the first time, she felt genuine concern. This human was no ordinary opponent. He was quick, intelligent, and unafraid of her power. "You're different," Lyra admitted, breathing heavily. Her eyes flickered with a mixture of frustration and admiration. "I underestimated you. I underestimated you." "I never asked to be underestimated," Alex replied. His eyes remained locked on hers, calm, unwavering. "I came here to show what humans can do." The battle intensified. Lyra's attacks became more unpredictable, but Alex's mind raced faster. He noticed small patterns in her swings, the slight hesitation before she changed direction, the rhythm she used to measure distance. Using these observations, he anticipated her moves, dodging and weaving with precision. Then came the first turning point. Lyra summoned a massive energy strike, a weapon she had reserved for only the most dangerous opponents. The ground shook as the energy formed a glowing sphere, spinning and expanding toward Alex. The crowd held its breath. Most would have panicked. Most would have been crushed. But Alex did not panic. He analyzed the trajectory, the speed, the way the sphere interacted with the platforms. He leaped, timed perfectly, using the edge of a rotating platform to spring himself over the sphere. In mid-air, he twisted, landing on another platform safely. The energy strike collided with the previous platform, sending sparks into the sky. The spectators erupted into cheers. Lyra's eyes widened. How did he do that? She thought. Her confidence faltered for a moment. She had faced countless warriors, but none had neutralized her signature move so elegantly. Alex took advantage of that moment. He moved with purpose, carefully closing the distance between them. He didn't strike with force, only precision. A subtle push here, a calculated step there, each move designed to exploit the openings Lyra had created herself. The princess realized she was being outmaneuvered. Not by strength, not by sheer skill, but by adaptability, intelligence, and human ingenuity. Every time she attacked, Alex had a counter. Every time she tried to force the pace, he redirected it. She had underestimated humans, and now the consequences were becoming clear. Lyra's attacks became more desperate. She swung wildly, trying to force an opening. Alex dodged, using the environment, using her own movements, always one step ahead. The crowd could hardly believe what they were seeing. The princess, one of the greatest fighters in the galaxy, struggling to keep up with a human. "You are persistent," she admitted, panting. "But persistence alone won't defeat me. Persistence without thinking is useless." Alex replied. He didn't attack recklessly. Every move was designed to tire her, to make her mistakes apparent. And slowly, it worked. Lyra's swings became less precise. Her whips flickered slightly off target. Her holographic blades struck platforms instead of him. The energy sphere she tried to summon next was smaller, weaker, her focus divided. Alex saw the moment he had been waiting for. He leaped across platforms, using their rotation and tilt, and landed behind her. In one swift motion, he touched her shoulder, not with violence, but to unbalance her again. She stumbled. Her guard lowered for a fraction of a second. The crowd went silent, sensing the shift. The princess, unbeaten for years, had been caught in a position most warriors would never have survived. The human had turned the duel in his favor, not through brute force, but through strategy, intelligence, and adaptability. Lyra looked at him, eyes wide, chest heaving. "You are extraordinary," she whispered, almost to herself. "I told you," Alex said quietly. "Humans are clever. We adapt. We survive. And sometimes, we win." The platforms continued to shift, the energy fields crackling dangerously around them, but Alex remained calm, ready for whatever she might try next. The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, many standing in awe. Never had they seen a human fight like this. Never had they seen Lyra struggle so visibly. For Lyra, the lesson was clear. She had underestimated humans. She had assumed that raw skill, speed, and training would be enough. But humans had something else. Something different from any alien race she had faced. Ingenuity, adaptability, and the courage to face the impossible. The stage was set for the final showdown. Alex had gained the upper hand, but the duel was far from over. Lyra's pride would not allow defeat without a fight. She took a deep breath, summoning all her energy, preparing for the decisive moment. And Alex, calm and focused, prepared for what would be the ultimate test, not just of strength, but of human ingenuity and determination. The arena trembled, the platforms shifted, and the crowd leaned forward, eager to witness the next chapter. The moment when humans would either rise to legend or fall before the alien princess. The platforms hovered higher than ever now, suspended in the sky over Zyphera's vast violet deserts. The arena's energy fields crackled violently, making every step treacherous. The crowd leaned forward, their eyes wide, sensing the tension building to an unbearable peak. Aliens from hundreds of planets whispered nervously. No human had ever reached this stage, and no opponent had ever made Princess Lyra sweat. Lyra stood at the center of the largest platform, her silver hair floating in a halo of light. She had fought many battles, won many tournaments, but today was different. The human, Alex Mercer, had pushed her to her limits, forcing her to adapt, think, and fight in ways she had never needed to before. For the first time, she felt genuine respect and fear for her opponent. Alex stood opposite her, calm as ever. His posture was relaxed, yet every movement was deliberate. He had studied her every attack, learned the rhythm of her strikes, and calculated the best way to use his human ingenuity against her unmatched skill. The crowd murmured. Could this human actually win? The duel resumed with renewed intensity. Lyra unleashed a storm of attacks, faster and more dangerous than ever before. Holographic blades spun and struck like lightning, and energy whips lashed out with deadly precision. Alex dodged, ducked, and rolled, moving with fluid grace, adapting to every strike. The first few minutes were a blur. Lyra's attacks seemed unstoppable, but Alex's movements were unpredictable. He did not match her speed. He anticipated, he calculated, and he used the environment. Platforms shifted, barriers pulsed, and energy fields threatened to tear through them. Yet Alex stayed ahead of the chaos. Lyra's frustration grew. You are not just a human, she exclaimed, breathless. How are you still standing? Alex's expression was calm. Humans survive by thinking, not just fighting. That's how we adapt. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She had to end this quickly. She summoned a massive holographic spear, its tip glowing with concentrated energy. It was her signature weapon, capable of defeating the strongest opponents with a single strike. She aimed at Alex, her movements a perfect combination of speed and force. The crowd gasped. They had never seen a human face such a weapon without fear. Alex analyzed the spear's trajectory in a heartbeat. He didn't run. Instead, he leaped toward a rotating platform, using its momentum to arc over the strike. Mid-air, he twisted his body, landing behind her flank. Lyra's spear struck the platform where he had stood moments before, sending sparks into the air. Impossible, Lyra shouted, her voice trembling with disbelief. Alex remained calm. Nothing is impossible, he said quietly. He moved again, carefully, using the platforms like chess pieces, setting up traps with his presence and timing. Every leap, every step, forced Lyra to react. Her attacks became more aggressive, less precise. The strain showed on her face. She had fought countless warriors, yet this human was outthinking her, turning her own skill against her. Then came the moment Alex had been waiting for. Lyra, in her desperation, attempted her ultimate move, a spinning attack that combined speed, power, and her holographic blades, designed to end any fight instantly. Most would have been caught, crushed by the force. Alex watched, waited, and anticipated. As she spun toward him, he sidestepped and used the momentum of a nearby platform to spring upward. In midair, he executed a precise flip, landing behind her. He did not strike violently, he did not need to, but he applied just enough force to disrupt her balance. Lyra stumbled, her blades missing him entirely. For the first time, she felt vulnerability. The crowd was silent, the tension so thick, it felt like a physical weight. Aliens who had watched her dominate for years could hardly believe their eyes. The princess was struggling against a human. Alex didn't pause. He pressed the advantage, using a combination of speed, intelligence, and human intuition. He moved with purpose, guiding Lyra toward a narrower platform. Her strikes became frantic, almost panicked. You are clever, she said, gasping for breath. But I cannot lose. Sometimes, Alex said softly, it is not about winning by force. It's about winning by being smarter. With one final leap, he landed directly in front of her. Lyra swung her blades in a desperate attempt, but Alex caught her momentum, redirecting it with precision. She stumbled, and the platform tilted beneath her. For a split second, she was off balance, her power neutralized by a human who refused to give up. The spectators erupted into a mix of cheers and stunned silence. Aliens whispered to each other, eyes wide. He's going to win? Lyra regained her footing, but it was clear that she was beaten not by strength, not by luck, but by intelligence, strategy, and adaptability. Alex stood calmly, his breathing even, ready to finish the duel. He didn't strike violently. He simply executed one final, calculated maneuver. A swift movement that used Lyra's own momentum to bring her to her knees. The princess froze, realization dawning in her eyes. She had fought fiercely, but she had been outmatched in strategy and adaptability. Alex extended a hand, offering her a chance to yield. The arena held its breath. Lyra's pride surged, but she saw the truth in his eyes. He had proven what humans were capable of: cleverness, courage, and resilience. Slowly, she placed her hand in his, signaling the end of the duel. The arena exploded with cheers. Spectators rose to their feet, chanting Alex's name, celebrating a victory that no one had thought possible. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, but today, one human had proven that strength alone did not define a warrior. Ingenuity, adaptability, and courage mattered more. Lyra stood and faced Alex, a mixture of respect and humility in her gaze. "I misjudged your species," she admitted. "You are more than I imagined. You are extraordinary." Alex nodded. "And your skill is incredible. You pushed me to my limits." The two warriors stood together on the platform, high above the arena floor. The crowd's cheers reverberated across the sky. This moment was not just a victory for Alex Mercer. It was a victory for all of humanity. A declaration that humans could survive, adapt, and even triumph in the galaxy's most dangerous arenas. Lyra lowered her blades and smiled faintly. "Perhaps humans deserve more respect than we gave them." Alex looked at her, his calm demeanor unwavering. "We don't ask for respect. We earn it. That's what makes us strong." The arena lights dimmed, signaling the end of the tournament. Holographic banners displayed Alex's name across the sky. Aliens from every corner of the galaxy whispered stories that would be retold for generations. The day a human bested the Zypheran princess, using nothing but his mind, his courage, and his adaptability. As the spectators began to leave, Lyra approached Alex privately. "If you are willing, perhaps we can work together. Humans and Zypherans might achieve more as allies than as competitors." Alex smiled. "Perhaps that is the future. Humans are ready to learn, and we are ready to teach in our own way." The sun of Zephyra dipped below the horizon, casting violet and gold light across the arena. The crowd's cheers faded into a hum, but the legend of the human who challenged the alien princess would live forever. For Alex Mercer, the victory was not just about winning a duel. It was about proving that humanity could rise among the stars. Clever, resilient, and fearless. And for Princess Lyra, it was a lesson she would never forget. Never underestimate humans, for their strength lies not just in muscle or speed, but in mind, heart, and spirit. As the two walked from the arena, side by side, the galaxy seemed a little smaller, a little more connected, and somewhere in the stars, the story of a human who dared to challenge the impossible began to inspire others, human and alien alike. The galaxy had changed that day. Humanity had made its mark. And for the first time, the words, "You'll lose instantly," seemed not a challenge, but a distant memory.